Sometimes we sit by the window, quietly thinking I am too old to begin. Time has passed, the others have already done Iden. Maybe all that is left for me is to wait, but who decides the time will sets? The limit on hoppage is only a number in the sound never. Really grows old thing about this one, flowers only bloom late in the season, some birds learn to fly after the storm has passed, and some people discover lovingly after their hair has turned to silver reef. Life is a journey thin. Every day is a new turning din. We are allowed to choose unfamiliar roads even if our steps are slower even, if our voice is soft. To remember this Colonel Sanders started KFC in his 60s grandma. Moses began painting at 7 times and Mandela became president after most of his life behind. Bart's life is not about who begins first, but about who keeps walking even if the feet are weary, even if the heart beats gently, as long as we keep moving toward the light. So let go of the thought that we are too old Beckhouse. Maybe you are simply not brave enough yet. Oh, begin something new with a new heart and a quiet strength, and fate is always possible. When we were young, we learned to smile when we were supposed to nod, even when we disagreed to say yes when our hearts whispered no, or carried that habit like a polite little suitcase the way into our 60s, trying to be the good one. Agreeable one, never in the way one, but now, dear heart, it is time to set that suitcase down. You do not need to please everyone. Because not everyone is meant to understand you. Some will misread your silence and will question your choice, and that is perfectly all right. You were not born to be decoration. You were born to be a living, breathing truth. A tree does not ask permission to grow. A river does not apologize for changing direction. So why must we constantly shrink ourselves, Vesto? Keep others comfortable when we reach this age. Earn something precious, not a pension, not a medal, but the right to peace. And peace does not come from pleasing the crowd. It comes from pleasing your soul, from waking up in the morning and saying, this is who I am, and I no longer have to explain it. Philosopher Seneca once said, you act like mortals in all that you fearing, like immortals in all that you disaresso. Stop fearing their disapproval, stop living for their applause, start walking toward your own joy, even if the path is quiet, even if it leads away from their expectation. Sure, soul dear one has waited long enough to breathe freely. Some nights the past pops in uninvited like a nosy neighbor who brings no biscuits, just a list of your most embarrassing moments and a smirk that says, remember that thing you did in 1987. Yes, the thing, you know, the onion. You sit there thinking them. I really just a collection of errors, a highlight reel of wrong turns and poor decisions, like that perm you thought was a good idea that time you trusted your sat-nav and ended up in a field, but knew you are not your mistakes. You are the laughter that followeth, tears that taught you where you stood up, dusted off your pride and said right then, well, that could have gone better. Think about this moon has Denson. It still gets admired nightly. A cake might collapse in the oven, but with enough ice and Jerry on, we'll still eat it. When Shakespeare made mistakes, Romeo and Juliet honestly could have just sent a second messenger. But the point is, I learned you, grew you, became more interesting at dinner parties. The wise Oscar Wilde once said, experience is simply the name we give to our mistakes. And by now you, my dear, rare and absolute encyclopedia. So let go of the idea that your past defines you, because truly it refines you, it sharpens your humor, softens your judgment, and gives you excellent material. When someone says to me a story from your youth, you are not broken, you are seasoned like a fine winier, a really good cheese, and that takes time. There is this whisper that sometimes creeps in, usually when the knees creak louder than the floorboards, or when you find your glasses only to realize say, oh, are already wearing them. It says quietly, your golden days are gone, your best moments are behind. Yuno is just tea and telly until bed to mebu. Let me tell you something, Wolver said, the best comes early. Clearly never tasted a slow cooked stew or had a chat with someone who has seen the world and still chooses. Can this truth is there are still first waiting for you. First time you learned to dance in the kitchen, Alan Eve. First time you try that food you once thought was too spicy. First time you say no without guilt or yes without hesitation, and let us not forget sunsets are often more beautiful than sunrise because they come after the day has done its work and still have the grace to glow gorge. Eliot once said it is never too late to be what you might have been, and I quite agree. Of course you wanted to be a giraffe, which Cass's theory may be some biological challenge, but the essence remains best is not a decadite, is a decision, a choice to live this moment with a sparked smile at the mirror Revan. When it reflects more wisdom than wrinkles, though not believe the myth that joy has an expiry date to have plenty of joy left tucked in the corner of unexpected friendships and laughter over something terribly silly in moments where the world quiets down in your heart. Says yes, this is it, your best days are not behind. Yuffie or wherever you choose to bring your best self in Theta is rather exciting. Ah, yes, the great British tradition keep calm and carry on, stiff upper lip and all that never. Let them see you cry unless of course you're chopping onions or watching the end of a really good drama. Grow up thinking strength means silence means smiling. When your heart is cracking me and saying I'm fine, when you are absolutely not, but my dear, real strength is not in pretending, it is in allowing gallowing yourself to feel to say today is hard to accept a hug without saying I'm okay, really, when you're clearly not even close. Even kettles whistle when they've had a nothing. Even the strongest trees bend in the wind does not mean they are weak, it means they are a liberty or something quite noble, something deeply brave about saying I need a momenti, need helper, even just you could do with a biscuit and a childish John O. Donahue once said, when the soul is reality, its teacher appears to meet, that teacher comes as a tear so many times as a friend who says, take your Timino, rush Horatio, let go of the idea that strength means carrying the world. Alan, even superheroes have sidekicks and capes get caught indoors sometimes by. Human means being soft in some place and strong in others, and often both an answer true strength, kind that lasts us. Gentlite is the voice inside you that says he will try again tomorrow, Revan. If today I needed a nap and a biscuit and a good old crying, honest, lifted kind of strength is blooming marvelous. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but honestly, who decided that? Probably someone who never met a retired gentleman learning salsa or a grand who suddenly takes up painting and ends up selling her art online. This idea that change has a get limit, that growth has an age limit. Well, it's absolute tosh truth. It's worth changing all the time. Just look at how your tea preferences have evolved. It was milk, no sugar, no. It's oat milk and a pinch of cinnamon if you're feeling fancy. Change does not always need to be massive vestments. It's just choosing a different route on your morning walk, treating that odd vegetable with the weird name. You're finally admitting that you quite like jazz's Leonard Cohen Rotether is a crack-in. Everything that's how the light gets ironing. Sometimes it takes a few decades for the light to find the right crack, but when it does so, it glows beautiful like change at 60s event ISD, not about becoming someone else, it's about becoming more of who you really airless, pretending more, revealing like peeling back wallpaper and finding a lovely brick wall beneath it. Gold, the idea that you are done growing, you are not a closed book, you are a novel with a few more brilliant chapters left, maybe even a plot twist or two. And the best part is I get to choose the general. It be a quiet mystery, a joyful comedy, or perhaps a gentle romance with your soul. Whatever you pick, just know this, you are never too old to become a little more you. The Pressuretto have all the answers, though know exactly what you're doing to. Never fumble with your phone or forget why you walked into the kitchen. We spend so much of life pretending we've got it together, but truth be told, most of us are winging. Even the ones with shiny shoes and confident voices, this idea that by a certain age we should have everything sorted is rather like expecting the sea to stay still. I've moved as it shifts, and so do weather is great freedom in ing, don't know, and even more in saying deem. Learning Becca's learning never stops, not at 60, not at 80, not even when your knees disagree. Where Socrates once said, only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing gan to be fair, probably lost a few socks to it, all right to ask. Questions to admit confusion or say this bit of lifing still figuring it out its bravest. Understand, it's surprisingly comfortingly go the thought that you must have all the pieces neatly in place of medums. The puzzle is meant to be wobble-somedies. The picture changes halfway through and data's perfectly fine. Are not here to be perfectua, here to be real to stumble with Grisedo laugh at ourselves. Kinley and to keep going together when we are not entirely. Sure, where road ledge beckles in truth journey is far more interesting than the destination in. It's much more fun when you give yourself permission to wander or wandering to simply be. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey of letting go and embracing the beauty of life after 60. I hope these reflections have inspired you to take a step back, smile a little more, and remind yourself that there's always room for growth, joy, and adventure, no matter where you are in life. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and share with anyone who might need a little reminder that it's never too late to start something new or let go of old beliefs. And if you want to continue this uplifting journey together, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next video filled with even more wisdom, warmth, and inspiration for your life. Ahead, Doc, thank you again, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Take care and remember, your best days are just ahead.